The major political tussle in Venezuela, opposition leader and head of the Congress, Juan Guaido, has declared himself as the interim president of the country. The 35-year-old has called President Nicolas Maduro's claim to power illegitimate. Guaido has promised to create a transitional government that would help the country escape its hyperinflation. Guaido has urged the military to support him so that a fair election could be conducted. Maduro came back to power in the economic crisis-hit country last year, an election marred by allegations of rigging. The U.S. has become one of the first countries to recognize Juan Guaido as the president of Venezuela. In a statement, U.S. President Donald Trump said that Washington would continue to use the full weight of economic and diplomatic power to press for the restoration of Venezuelan democracy. Remember, further U.S. sanctions can worsen the economic crisis in the hyperinflation-hit country. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has announced that the Latin American country would cut off all ties from the U.S. This after Washington-backed opposition leader Juan Guaido's claim to power. Maduro accused the U.S. of trying to stage a power grab and said that he won't step down from his post. Maduro has asked all the American diplomats to leave Venezuela within 72 hours. A host of Latin American nations and Venezuela's neighbors have recognized Juan Guaido as Venezuela's interim president. Leaders of Colombia, Brazil, Peru and Canada have backed the opposition leader's claim to power. Speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro said that he would lend the political support to the Venezuelan opposition. Remember, thousands of Venezuelans have been migrating to neighboring nations to escape harsh economic conditions and poverty in their country. Chilean President Sebastián Piñera has said that the power change would bring back democracy in Venezuela. The power grab by the opposition comes as violent anti-government protests rocked the Venezuelan capital of Caracas. Hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans poured into the streets of Caracas to demand an end to the rule of President Nicolas Maduro. The Venezuelan premier has been blamed for plunging the oil-rich country into an economic crisis marked by hyperinflation. The former lawyer of United States President Michael Cohen will be postponing his testimony over alleged threats from Trump. Now, Cohen's advisor has said that the former Trump campaign manager's family has been receiving threats from Trump and his current attorney. Cohen was set to testify before the Congress on the 7th of February. Meanwhile, Trump has said that Cohen was only being threatened by the truth. Cohen was sentenced to 3 years in prison last month for crimes including organizing hush payments to women in violation of campaign laws before the 2016 elections. Cohen had said that he was directed to make the payments by Trump. U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has said that she will not authorize a State of the Union address in the House chamber during the government shutdown. She has rejected President Trump's plan to deliver the speech next week in front of a joint session of Congress. It was the latest round of the standoff between Trump and Pelosi over the U.S. president's demand for Mexico border wall money that led to a partial government shutdown. Now in second month, the congressional Democrats have refused to accept the U.S. president's demands. After spending 7 days in Mexico, a group of mostly Honduran migrants which crossed into Mexico continued the trek to reach the U.S. Hundreds of Central American migrants arrived in southern Mexico on board trucks which they were allowed to travel in after getting permission from the federal police. Migrant caravan has escalated the debate over U.S. immigration policy, with President Trump citing the caravan in his bid to secure backing for his plan to build a wall on the U.S.-Mexican border. France's National Health Agency has discovered traces of dangerous chemicals in babies' disposable nappies across various brands. However, American consumer products group Procter & Gamble has denied the findings, claiming that its products have always been safe. Several tests conducted by the health agency have found substances that are potentially dangerous to health, including the controversial weed killer glyphosate. The French government has said that manufacturers and retailers have to ensure that the substances are removed from nappies. Rescuers have resumed the search for missing footballer Emiliano Sala. It has been over 3 days since the plane that was carrying the Argentine striker went missing over the English Channel. Recently, a recording emerged of a fearful voice message that Sala apparently sent from the aircraft. A 28-year-old striker was flying from Nantes in western France to Cardiff for his debut with the Premier League club Cardiff City. Meanwhile, Salah's father has urged rescuers to continue looking for his son. Football club Nantes fans continue to pray for the safety of striker Emiliano Sala. Fans have put flowers at the club's training ground in the French city of Nantes. 28-year-old footballer recently left the Nantes FC to join the Cardiff City Football Club. It is in fact suspected that the plane which was carrying him to Cardiff crashed in the English Channel near France. Efforts to find the 2-year-old boy who fell into a borehole in Spain resumed after hitting a snag. Earlier, the engineers said they would have to widen a parallel shaft before they could dig a horizontal passage to reach the toddler. A toddler fell down the borehole shaft as his family walked through a private estate in Malaga on January 13. Spanish miners and engineers have been joined by workers from a Swedish firm who helped rescue 33 Chilean miners more than 7 years ago. Russian President Vladimir Putin and his Turkish counterpart Recep Tayyip Erdogan have said they have discussed steps needed to stabilize the situation in Syria's Idlib province. Moscow and Ankara are fighting a joint battle against terrorist organizations in the region. The statements were made during Erdogan's day-long visit to Moscow. Earlier, the Russian Foreign Ministry had said that the situation in the region where Moscow and Ankara have tried to create a de-escalation zone was rapidly worsening and that it was under the control of a rebel group that was previously linked to Al-Qaeda. In his last televised address to the nation, the President of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Joseph Kabila, has urged people to support his successor, Felix Tshisekedi. Now, Kabila said that he was stepping down after 18 years in power without any regrets. Kabila has been governing the Central African nation since his father and former Congolese president Laurent Kabila was assassinated in 2001. Catholics from all over the world have gathered in Panama City ahead as Pope Francis arrived in the Panamanian capital for the church's World Youth Day. The papal visit comes as thousands of people from the Central American nation have been trying to migrate to the U.S. Many migrants are seeking asylum, saying they suffer from violence and human rights abuses in Panama. Papal aides have said that the Pope is likely to discuss those topics during his trip. Heavy snowfall caused travel disruptions in and around the French capital of Paris. Travel was made difficult, with buses not running and cars having to be extremely careful due to reduced visibility and slippery roads. The weather department has put the Paris region and area around it under orange alert for snowfall. However, the weather is expected to improve in the coming days. A police officer had a lucky escape after a close encounter with a car sliding on an icy road in the U.S. state of Wisconsin. A footage released by the sheriff's office showed Deputy Jason Fabry jumping out of the way of the oncoming vehicle as it skidded across the road. Authorities released the video to remind drivers to slow down in cold weather. Indian PM Narendra Modi has taken a jibe at the Congress party after it announced the entry of Gandhi family scion Priyanka Gandhi into active politics. Without taking any names, Modi said the democratic culture and values ran in the Bharatiya Janata Party's blood. Unlike many cases where the family is the party, earlier Congress party named Priyanka Gandhi as the General Secretary for East Uttar Pradesh. Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led selection panel would pick the new chief of India's premier investigative agency, the Central Bureau of Investigation, today. This after another PM-led panel removed former CBI chief Alok Verma from his post. Nageshwar Rao is currently the interim chief of the agency.